Hey, I'm Scotty Rock.
And I'm Nate Danger.
Oh yeah, today we're going to talk about...
Nickelback, one of the most hated bands
and love bands, apparently.
and love bands in the world.
Of all time.
Some people love them, absolutely love them. Obviously, they sell a ton of records. Some people completely hate them, like despise them. And I've never really known a band that's divided the crowd quite like Nickelback has.
And still sold millions of records.
Yeah. Let's talk about how we got introduced to Nickelback.
Okay, so here's the deal. Danger and I were both playing in different bands around the same time, and it's more like a college circuit scenario. Playing some universities and clubs, and...
We should say that we're from the same area.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We're from the prairies in Canada. That would make sense for people because we're in both bands.
We were both, yeah.
And we're one province apart, literally a four-hour drive.
Nickelback's from Hannah, which is about, I'd say 3 to 4 hours from where we live right now. And for us to go to Calgary to play a gig, you actually have to drive through Hannah. Alberta. And I don't know about you guys, but we always would stop there for beer because it was as soon as we crossed the border, it was like a little bit cheaper on the beer.
Alberta.
So we'd pull into the...
Us Sasky boys, we love Alberta.
Yeah. So
we can drink a year younger, right?
Yeah.
We only have to be 18 to drink in Alberta.
Right.
So
And beer was
everyone
always
from
cheaper.
Saskatchewan, as soon as they turn 18, goes over across the border to drink.
Yeah, party it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we stop in Hannah, and it's the home of Nickelback. I mean, you'd never guess it was the generic small town. Like, how does this band come from there? But as prairie guys, we could totally relate to that band, I think, and their influences, because they're approximately the same age, or approximately around the same period of time.
That's right. We could have been buddies had we been living in Hannah.
Yeah. Totally would have been pals, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's my story. I just feel like they came out around the same time that my band was trying to like do our thing, and so I sort of saw them as a bit of competition.
You like really thought, here we go, this is competition, Nickelback?
Yeah, honestly, because I heard that first album, and I think it was called Curb.
Curb was the first album.
It came
96.
out right around the same time, so I'm reading all the same like music magazines here and all that stuff.
So he was in a band called Bent.
Yeah.
And when was Bent's first release?
Probably like 95.
95. What was it called?
What was it called? The Buster Brown Campaign.
That's awesome.
Was our first
Buster
album.
Brown Campaign.
First album comes out, and so it probably predated Nickelback's first album by a year or two, maybe.
Okay.
Here's the thing. It was like, they call it post-grunge, so after grunge died off, I think they got labeled as a post-grunge band, whatever that means. And we were kind of like a college alternative band, whatever that also means. But yeah, we were playing the same sort of circuit, talking to the same people, and
Absolutely.
when I heard that album, and a lot of people were kind of digging it, I wasn't a fan of that first album. There's things I liked about it. I liked Chad's voice. I thought it sounded pretty good.
It's a good singer.
I thought the guitar tones were not that great.
On the first album?
Yeah, on the first album.
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't a great album. It was like the first album, you know, like they're still figuring out what kind of musicians they want to be, what kind of band they want to be.
Independently released.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was probably recorded on like a 4-day weekend. So I could relate to that sort of process. And
Isn't that what we all did?
That's what we all did.
I booked the midnight shift where you started recording at midnight and you go till 5 in the morning because you saved a bunch of money and you tried to cram all your songs
in one
and
night.
then the next night you had to mix them all and you hadn't slept.
Yeah. Well, that's just the way it was back then. And so Nickelback comes out, and I wasn't necessarily a fan musically or sonically or, you know.
I didn't know their first album.
I was just kind of I was indifferent, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The next year they put out The State.
The State.
Independently released, and they put out a video for Leader of Men.
Game changer.
Which is game changer. Here in Canada, they had it all over the music channel, Much Music.
They had a ton of videos for it,
Yep.
right? I think they had a video for Breathe. for Leader of Men.
Yeah.
I think they probably, I don't know, I feel like they had 4 singles off of this album, The State.
Right.
Which were getting some good traction on Much Music.
Much
and
music.
different things.
And,
Yeah.
they started getting videos played on like the Independent Hour or whatever that was, and then
College radio
started
picking
playing
up.
them, and then they're on Much Music pretty regularly.
And then Big Radio.
Yeah, Big Radio picked them up,
Yeah.
and then that band got signed to a record label here in Canada a year after their second album was released. And I don't know, man. I mean, then they toured down to the States, and then their first 3 singles off that independently released State, remixed, remastered, or whatever they do when you sign a label,
Yeah.
took off at radio in the States and set them up for, like, where they are today.
The State was the album that Nickelback was touring when we actually saw them for the very first time live.
Yep.
I would say. I think, right? So, college campus, gig comes. We've already heard a couple of the tunes just because of local play that they're getting on the State, some recognition. And we went to the college pub, and literally, how many people were in that room?
There was probably 22 people.
22 people,
At a
including us. So 20 people in the room on top of us. And I remember you were heckling. You were like, play some Slab Drab, yelling at the band, because Slab Drab was my band. And it was crazy.
Do you remember who opened that gig?
No.
I don't remember either. But, okay,
I
here's the
didn't
thing.
even know if there was an opener.
My other buddy, Derek, went with and met us there. It was Derek's birthday, and he was quite hammered on some beers there, and we had tons of laughs. Anyways, we kind of both went into this gig thinking like, oh man, Nickelback, hey, like they just got signed. Let's go check them out, see if they're worth their being signed, hey. And I just remember on the stage, they all had like brand new Mesa Boogie 4x12 cabs and the dual rectifier heads. I'm like, oh god, it was just like that.
We got signed.
Yeah. We got signed. Here's our bonus on our new gear, and it looked rad. I'm like, gear looks awesome, but let's hear them play.
And they played awesome.
Okay, they came out,
They
and
were
I was
good.
not a fan.
They were good.
I was not a fan.
Oh man, really?
They played their gig, and I remember heckling them, and which is
Well, I know you
something
were heckling them.
I don't normally do heckle bands, but my buddy Derek and I had a few too many drinks there, and we were probably being a little cheeky, but. That was the only rock and roll show that I've ever got up and left halfway through. First gig I've ever walked out of was a Nickelback show.
So listen to this. 22 people will say.
Yeah.
And literally within a year of that, they're the biggest band in the world.
Yeah, isn't that unreal?
It was before Silver Side Up that we saw them.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden, they release this album. How You Remind Me comes out. Biggest band in the world.
I've been wrong, I've been down, been to the bottom of every bottle. These five words in my head scream, "Are we having fun yet?"
Obviously played everywhere. Everybody knows the story of Nickelback from then on.
Right.
It's crazy. And our question, and what we want to talk about a little bit, is why are they so hated?
Why are they so hated? Okay, here's the thing. I was sitting in Holland at a pub drinking beer on a Saturday afternoon, and I just came from a shop, and I'm just chilling
What
out.
kind of a shop?
Just a shop where you shop around.
Yeah,
And
just shopping.
this Dutch guy beside me was just standing there, hey, and he's like, "Oh, I fucking love Nickelback," because it came on the satellite radio, hey, and they came with "How You Remind Me," and I'm thinking, "My God, this is the band like I couldn't stand like a year ago," and this Dutch guy's informing me how much he loves this band, and I'm just thinking how cool for these guys that they just like blew up internationally, and like there's some Dutch fan that they've never met.
Man.
And to hear it firsthand how much, and he's like talking, I'm just sitting there having a beer. I wasn't even looking. Like he just started talking out loud, and I kind of glanced over, and he started talking to me.
Man, that's awesome. Music shouldn't really be a competition.
No.
It should be a camaraderie and what brings people together. And I always wanted other people to succeed. So you look at the Wide Mouth Masons.
Yep.
Who else is from our neck of the woods, right?
Rain
That's
Wolf.
done good. Rain Wolf now is done really good. One Bad Son
Bad
is
Son.
getting some stuff, right? But so someone like a Nickelback touring the same circuits that we're doing, and then to get that explosion of just popularity,
No,
because
right?
that song was everywhere.
Everywhere.
And the reality is they weren't a one-hit wonder.
No.
Like, we're talking a band now that has 10 albums in their discography. Why is that word hard to say?
I don't know.
Discography.
Yeah.
And 10 albums, and how many albums sold?
Like over 50 million.
50 million albums.
That's unreal. That's more than Judas Priest, in case you want to, like, a side-by-side.
More than Judas Priest. This is one of the biggest bands to ever come out of Canada.
Easily.
How You Remind Me was the number one rock song of, like,
That
year.
Yeah.
The biggest rock song, and the number 4 biggest song of that year. Like,
that's crazy. And so, like, a year before, they're just like a bunch of
they're us.
They're
us.
They're just a bunch of punks, like, asking for the gig,
Yeah.
you know? Like, and we played all
We'll
the same
play for
circuits.
free beer.
Yeah.
Let us sleep here for nothing. And
Yeah.
because we got another
Can we crash?
gig. We
Can we
got another
crash?
gig over here. And
Yeah.
You're making all the deals, aren't you?
So it was all relatable, you know what I mean? Their success, I was stoked for them, knowing that they're from Hannah, and we kind of grew up in that same era and that same influences. I was like,
That's right.
I was stoked for them, but also kind of like, I probably nail it better than those guys.
Come on. They're good.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
good. I've always loved Nickelback. I've always thought they were great.
Right.
But let's talk about why they're hated. So first off, why do people say they hate him?
I think initially just because Chad's voice sounded post grunge, where everyone was doing their Eddie Vedderisms.
Let's talk about that. Though.
Yeah, okay. Well, the dude from Creed did that, I think, more noticeably.
Listen, what does Chad do? Chad doesn't do anything strange with his voice.
I know.
So, because Green Day, right? Green Day did the interview and they're and then everyone's like making fun, like there's the Eddie Vedder and the Creed and
Nickelback.
and somehow Chad got put into that.
But
Chad's voice doesn't do that.
no, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
No.
He just sings in his regular voice. His voice hasn't changed from the first album on, and he's not doing anything weird. So I think that's debunked.
I think you're right. I always found that one weird. It was probably more associated with the guy from Creed, because they're a little more rip-offy. But Chad's always, from that first album on, he's always had that same voice. And
Yeah.
Initially, I was like, but when you hear it on the radio, on a single that sold millions of records, it's like the perfect voice for, like, rock radio.
Okay. What else? Why else are they hated?
Well, overexposure, I think, was the other
Okay.
reason. So they had a bunch of, obviously, getting on that Silver Side Up.
Can't control that.
Those 3 singles
everywhere.
blew up. It was everywhere.
Everywhere.
And every band's dream. So they also couldn't be like, oh man, we're overexposed, right?
No.
They
no.
loved every second of it, I'm
Of
sure.
course. And
Yeah, of course
everyone
they
would.
did.
Everyone would. So we can't fault them for that.
No.
Okay, so we can't fault him for his voice, because his voice is his voice, and I don't think he's doing anything strange to emulate something.
No.
We can't really fault him for getting big, because that's the popularity, but I understand that the bigger you get, the harder and more people want you to fall.
Yeah, yeah. And I think a big part of this big story was at the time the internet became like a thing more. So, and everyone was doing
maybe.
memes and like this band sucks or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever was going on at the time, so it was like spread easily. People like to share hate on the internet.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's true.
People like to spread negativity over positivity
Oh yeah, 100%.
on the internet?
So it was probably, in actuality, like a small group of haters, you know, with a global sort of reach.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, but let's talk about other things that people have said. So, some people have said they only write frat boy lyric songs, right?
Yeah.
Stripper songs.
Stripper songs, yeah.
Somebody's got to write the stripper songs. Now, Nickelback has some stripper song lyrics, don't they?
Yeah, 100%.
Of course. But I love them.
And tease them all by sucking on your thumb. You're so much cooler when you never pull it out. 'Cause you look so much cuter with something in your mouth.
And what else are the strippers going to dance to if no one's writing the stripper songs?
They'll just dance to Aerosmith songs.
I don't know. Call me crazy.
Well,
but
hang on, you're in a band and you have stripper anthems in your catalog. I think that's, what would you say to that? I'd be like, cool.
okay, look.
Stripper's gonna strip.
Scotty
anyways.
got here today, and I played him an old song that we wrote together back when we were probably 18,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And the lyrics were probably not the best.
Little green.
You know, maybe not appropriate for today's time and age.
Right.
But Nickelback grew up on the same stuff we
right.
grew up on. Motley Crue, Poison. It was all the womanizing lyrics and stuff. That's what music
stripper
was.
anthems.
Party, drinking, sex. What else is there? Now, Nickelback's catalog isn't all that.
No, that's right.
So, look, what else do they sing about? They sing about robbing banks. They sing about like regular relationships, and they sing about
Hitting the road
people
with your
with
buds.
drug issues.
Yeah.
What else?
Hitting the road with your buddies.
Hitting the road with your buddies.
Yeah.
What about nostalgia? They
Lots
talk
of
about talk about Feed the Machine and different songs like that.
Yeah.
They don't just sing about one genre. Their variety is so vast on their topics. So I would say that to say they just sing about stripper songs,
No, yeah.
I don't agree.
I don't agree either. I think that's just a small handful of their tunes. You know what I mean? There's other
Yeah.
stuff they sing about. So it is what it is. But I mean, you're right. Any 80s record that's all it was too, but just different, maybe less obvious or different word play or whatever. But you know, I don't know. I mean,
Okay, what else? What else do people slag on them for?
what else did they slag? Probably their
Radio hits,
radio hits.
right?
But isn't that the whole point of being in a rock band, is to like make it huge and sell 50 million records and like write songs that everyone like gets married to and has all their like graduations to those songs? You know, I mean,
That seems pretty awesome
that's
to me.
pretty awesome. That's where you want to be. That's why they
Yeah.
started this dream.
To write songs that people like.
Yeah.
So I'm not really going to slag on him for that, because having played in a band myself and you playing in a band, you write songs that you love and you write songs that mean something to you, but you hope that they mean something to other people. Do you not?
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. I think a little bit of the Nickelback hate comes from the fact that Chad's been like vocal about saying, I figured out how to write #1 hit songs, and
That was my next point. I was just going to talk about that.
we'll talk away, man. I mean, it's
No, go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying that he kind of, in my mind, he let everyone in on the secret. Of course, there's like a way to write a hit song.
There was an interview that Chad stated that he figured out how to write a hit song, and I think that was the initiation of the hate.
Right. Because no one wants to feel like manipulated, I think, is part of it.
Maybe that's it, because that to me feels like it was everything was going really good, and then he said, I figured it out. I know how to write a hit song, and then
Banged out like 20 of them.
he did bang out 20 of them. But that's when the hate started.
It did,
That's
yeah.
when people started saying, oh, I don't want to listen to Nickelback. And
Right.
that's when all that started to spread.
I think I enjoyed Nickelback on the radio more so than I enjoyed Nickelback. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Like back to back with all the other radio songs. Like, oh, Nickelback song. His voice sounds great. The production's rad. You know what I mean?
Their production.
The songs are always... The singles... Okay, we talked about this. I said, I've only ever heard Nickelback singles on the radio.
Good for radio.
Yeah.
But what's the best part of Nickelback?
Well, and then so I said, am I missing something? And so I went back and I listened to every album front to back. And I called you and I said, I'm surprised how many songs that aren't singles are like just hardcore metal rock bangers. You know what I mean? And I was
Metal!
shocked. Yeah, I was shocked. They were
Like,
how heavy they were on.
Crazy great riffs.
Yeah, on some of their other stuff. I mean, some of their riffs they're all kind of in that one little spot where I can't hear it. From an F sharp to an F. You know what I mean? There's those kind
Yeah,
of-
but okay, so in lots of cases they're probably drop D and different
Yeah,
things, right? And so look, does some of the riffs sound the same? Yes. Does the way he sings certain songs sound the same? Yes. But so does everyone. So does AC/DC.
Crew
so
sounds
does
like Crew.
Crew.
Yeah.
Like,
AC/DC sounds like AC/DC.
look, my band, we played a bunch of songs. We always sound like my band. Your band played a bunch of songs. You sound like your band. That's because you got the same individuals writing the songs. Their songs aren't the same songs, except for the one time they pretty much ripped off their own song.
You were telling me about this, yeah.
That's right.
What song is that?
So, Skinny Little Missy
Right.
is a newer track, right? Off of Get Rollin'.
Yep.
Skinny Little Missy is a very similar chorus to She Keeps Me Up, which was 2 albums prior.
She's a twisted trickster. Everybody wants to be the sisters, Mister Coca-Cola roller coaster. Love her even though I'm not supposed to. She's a twisted trickster.
Oh,
So, I guess if you're going to rip someone off, you might as well rip off yourself. That way you can't get sued.
yeah, it's brilliant. Hey, you already wrote all the hits.
Yeah.
But anyways, like I'm surprised how many like bangers Nickelback has, and
So many good songs.
I want to just point this out, and which I find is weird. This is also a secret I know he cracked, because I've cracked it too. That the Ultimate album only has 11 songs on it, and every single Nickelback album is only 11 songs.
Look at that.
So take that, Rancid, and your 21 songs on an album.
Don't put out an album that has too many songs, because nobody wants to listen to that many songs.
Right.
It's hard. Look at these double albums and stuff. People want a set number of songs on an album,
Right.
and I think 11 is the perfect number.
It's the magic number. It seems
Magic.
like if you look at classic albums, they all have like 11 tunes. Anyways, I'm
I
sure
like-
that's part of his process and thinking,
Maybe.
because he's
Maybe.
figured it out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Have you met Chad?
I did actually.
When?
Okay. One time I didn't meet him, but I went when they played after they broke huge and they played our town. They played the arena. I went to soundcheck and I watched them soundcheck Pyro. Like I walked in the back door like I was supposed to be there. And then after their soundcheck, I was like, cool. I went backstage, hey, and I went into the dressing room. I had a sandwich and a couple beers, hey, and no one came in. I left. I left my CD.
You just ate their food?
I ate their food, took some beers, and I threw my CD in their CD player that they had all set up. and another time we were doing like a music thing in Toronto.
Yeah,
and,
how is that meeting him though?
well, I didn't meet him. I just kind of crashed his.
I just ate your
I
sandwich.
just ate your sandwich. It was so good. Anyways, the other time was in Toronto. We're in a club. It's like a music industry thing, and Chad's at the bar drinking shots of Jaeger, I think, and a couple Ryan Cokes, it looked like.
Yeah.
And some guy walks by and says, "You suck, Chad." And he's like, "F you, 30 million people love me." And I was just standing there.
He's not wrong. He's not
I
wrong.
turned around and I look, I'm like, who's this guy? I'm like, oh. And I just thought it was like kind of a pompous thing to say, but it was also like very like true.
It's Chad Kroger.
Kroger.
No, it's
It's
Kruger.
Kruger. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard that too. He doesn't.
So, just for everyone to know, it's Kruger,
It's Kruger.
not Kroger. Kruger!
So that's my.
Just
that's
like
my,
Freddy!
That's my Nickelback story there.
Well, that's cool,
Yeah,
man.
it's kind of cool to hear him be like an arrogant rock star.
You know, I met him one time. I met him at Winston's pub here.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah. So it was a strange event, and he was sitting in his corner with the entourage
Oh, yeah.
of Nickelback. But the thing I like about Chad is he's pretty social.
Sociable, yeah.
Right? He's pretty social. I've never heard him to be a jerk or anything, and he definitely wasn't to me. He was awesome, and so we kind of bumped into each other. I was actually at a event for a foundation, a group of guys here that raise money for charities and different things. So I was in a suit.
Oh, yeah.
And Chad, he comes up to me, and we're standing at the bar together, and he's asking what I do, and I had a little too much to drink that night, and he asks, "Why are you dressed like that? Like, what do you do?" And I said, "Because I'm a rock star."
He said that too.
And he looked at me, he's like, "I'm an effing rock star." And he walked back to his table. Yeah. So, you know, if I could take certain things back, if I could go back, I might be a little different.
Yeah, there's a
in my
few things
interactions. But we love you, Chad.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the documentary.
Okay, so yeah.
You
What
seen
did
it?
I loved it. I love a good rock documentary, and I thought that was a good one. And again, it was like a relatable. When they're on the up, it was relatable because I went through that same process to a certain level, I guess you could say.
I really liked the documentary.
Yeah, it was good.
I thought it was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
Kept me involved the whole time. I feel somewhat empathetic to Nickelback for being as hated as they are. Now, is it warranted? For me, I don't think so. I don't think their songs sound the same, even though everyone says, well, they still write the same songs. Look, they've got such a diversity in their catalog.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Like, for the actual fan, I feel like the people who really, really hate on Nickelback don't own any Nickelback albums.
Right.
Right? If you actually own their albums,
it's different. It's a different story.
There's songs all over the place. They don't sound the same.
I don't know. I think these days Nickelback's like 2 albums away from putting out a country album.
Okay, so
they're evolving. Or
they're starting to get some love, though.
Yeah. I noticed that too.
I feel like they're starting to get some acceptance. And I just feel like maybe at one point in time it was cool to hate on Nickelback.
I think so, yeah.
But now you take a look and you go, okay, they're doing stuff with Hardy, right?
Yeah.
Hardy, big country guy, just put out a song called Rockstar, talking about Nickelback, just did some CMT Crossroads stuff with Nickelback.
Oh, yeah.
Played live. What about Jelly Roll? One of the biggest artists in the world right now, dealing and partnering with Nickelback, doing tunes.
They're playing that country music festival here too.
We're having a big country music festival with Luke Combs and Nickelback and Dallas Smith.
Yeah.
Those are the headliners. And Justin Bieber, you tweeted 2 weeks ago, not even.
I read about that, yeah.
Saying that, hey, people need to lay off of Nickelback. They're good. They're awesome. So they are starting to get some love.
Yeah, they've never changed. I do feel bad watching that documentary because they're saying Chad has thin skin and kind of took it personally.
Well, I think everyone would.
But at the same time, you're selling millions of records, you're selling out arenas.
Yeah.
And to not have that sort of acceptance, I think you're right.
How many times have you seen Nickelback?
Well, just that once.
Just once?
Just that once, and I haven't been back since. Except to eat their sandwiches.
You're crazy. You need to go see a Nickelback show. I've seen Nickelback at least 5 times.
Yeah, you said that's awesome.
They've got the best show touring.
Yeah.
Man, they take all the pyro of Kiss and it is such a great show.
Yep.
It's like everything that I loved about the 80s rock bands put into a 2000s band and
just sort of updated the
fire, the pyro, the
lights.
sound. Their production on every album is probably some of the best production ever.
Oh yeah, well they did a record with Mutt Lange. I mean, how cool is that?
And let's talk about their drummer.
Which one? Well, they had that original guy.
Yeah, he was decent. Let's talk about the only drummer that matters. Their new guy.
Oh, the new guy. Yeah, he's a wicked drummer, man.
Daniel Adair?
Yeah.
Is that his name, I think?
I think so.
Oh my God, where'd this guy come from? 3 doors down, right?
I think Vancouver.
But he's amazing. This guy is amazing.
Yeah.
And he changed it. So the album For All the Right Reasons came out, and I think, was that his first album that he was on?
That was
For All the Right Reasons?
Yeah, that was their big.
I think
big
so.
one, too.
I think so. One of my favorite Nickelback albums. But this guy plays like a monster.
I know, right?
He's so good. And, Chad's brother on bass, just his tone and stuff. As a bass player, I've always super appreciated the production on their albums.
Oh, yeah.
He's got this low growling tone on his bass, and I just absolutely love it. I'm a huge fan of Nickelback.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed to say it because other people
you shouldn't
have to be.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. When I didn't like them initially, and when everyone was hating them, I was like, I'm not the kind of person that's gonna hate. I'm just not gonna interact with Nickelback. You know what I mean? I didn't enjoy their first couple of records. I mean, but I did enjoy hearing them on the radio, and I was a big supporter of their success. And
yeah, but they got so much in their back catalog that's way better than anything that's been on the radio.
I know. And I listen to it too. I'm kind of well, I missed the boat, but now I go back and listen to it. But the amount of work you got to put in to make a band work.
It's a lot of work.
And to write those songs and be committed and
4 guys.
Just 4 dudes, and
difference of opinions.
got to give them credit for their success, because it was
Yeah.
a lot of driven by the band themselves initially.
Yeah. So from Saskatchewan, we got to say, we're proud of you, Nickelback. At least I am.
I am too. I am. I think good job.
Good job.
I hope you guys have some success.
Yeah, make it big.
Maybe be able to
You know.
down payment on a house or something.
Yeah.
I
And
wish
if
you
you're
the
ever
best of
in
luck.
Saskatoon, just give us a call.
Give us a call.
We could hang out down at Winston's.
I owe you a couple beers, anyways.
Yeah, it'd be good. We'd like that.
Yeah.
I think we're all the same age as those guys.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say, after watching that documentary, I feel like their rhythm, that Ryan guy. I'm like, I feel like I could get along with that dude. You know.
I could get
Or
along
like
with
the
all
band.
of them.
'Cause
You know what I like? Look at
Because we'd be like, "What's your favorite Aussie song?" And they'd all like, "Ultimate Sin."
just the ultimate sin. Hey, but look. So there's that clip. Did you see that clip on the internet of Chad in Vegas? And then there's some girl. She's like, "Hey, Chad, sing a little bit of a song." And he's like, starts singing a song to her. And then she's like, and then he's like, "Get out of here!"
Oh, really?
It's so funny. And he's like, he's just a personable guy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think he's got I don't know. Maybe he's got a big ego, but he doesn't seem to me like that. He just seems like a prairie boy who's appreciative of his success in his band, and he likes a whole vast array of music, so he's not really pigeonholed into
No.
one type of thing. And I think they're awesome.
You know what's funny, that he asked you what you were into or whatever? Because I read this interview of that San Quentin video. He was at a party and asked the dude what he do, and he's like, "I'm the guy at San Quentin."
Yes.
And so I think he's personable, and I think he's like absorbing stories, you know, and personality.
All of his songs are like storytelling
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah.
You know, they're
Which
not
I think
always
is great. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and sometimes he's got stories about strippers. So what?
I think we all do.
Well, speaking of that, you know, we used to tour. How many times did you play with strippers? Right? We used to play.
a couple times. Yeah, and the stripper would get off, and you'd set your gear up.
Yeah, we'd have to play, and there'd be like 3 rounds of strippers that go on before the band. That's just part of the
That was
part of the gig, right?
At least they were always at the show, though, hey, because they had
Yeah.
nothing else to do, so it was like built-in audience.
Yeah, you go down, have a buffet, and watch some girl take her clothes off, and then get ready to rock.
Yeah. Those days have changed a little bit, I think.
I guess.
Yeah.
What?
Have they?
All right. Do they? I don't know.
I don't even know.
Maybe. Does strippers still exist?
Oh, I was talking about, I was going to say, do bands even play anymore?
Do bands even play? Does anyone care? So weird.
So, anything to finish off on Nickelback?
Yeah, we got some new Rock and Danger shirts.
Oh, buddy. In case you haven't noticed, Nickelback these.
If you stuck till the end, just give us a quick DM. Right?
Shirt
Drop
for
us a
sale.
message. You can order some up. We're getting a pre-order set
Dude,
up.
Comes with a mixtape.
Comes with a complimentary mixtape. Can you imagine?
That'd be
Custom
awesome.
made. I put that out there. I put that out there on Facebook.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, that all they had to do was like and share our post and tag a couple friends, and they were entered to win a free mixed tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, custom made by us. We'll pick all the cassettes. So if you're interested, get on it.
Rock and Danger!
Yeah!
Living it all the way. Time to fly, hit the sky like a motherfucker.
I don't know. I like
We're
them.
good. We're good for Nickelback.
Are we good for Nickelback?
I think we talked about some stuff.
I think so, yeah. It's always tough because I feel like you keep talking about Nickelback.